What's up everybody and welcome to the Fight Franchise and our recap and review of the main event of UFC 311 where Islam Makhachev successfully defended his undisputed lightweight title against Renato Moicano, who took the fight on short notice after Arman Tsarukyan pulled out due to a back injury on weigh-in day. I'm going to kind of break down the fight, what happened, kind of what played out, and then what I want to see going forward for both guys. So main event is done and dusted. Islam Makhachev made quick and easy work of Renato Moicano, as I thought he would and as many of us thought he would, and he did it in a fashion which kind of showed why he is where he is in the pound for pound rankings and where he is in the lightweight division. Fallout, let's kind of give you the kind of how we got here. Islam was supposed to fight Arman Tsarukyan. Arman Tsarukyan, on weigh-in day, phones the UFC, phones Hunter Campbell, Dana White, and he goes, look, my back is effed, I can't fight. Islam Makhachev goes, whoever it is who's next, just find me an opponent, I'm going to fight. Renato Moicano steps up as he was the best lightweight on the card and on the best win streak. He was on, I believe, a 6-fight win streak, and he takes the fight on relatively short notice, but he had been training as he had a fight against Beneil Dariush. When the fight was announced, I will not lie, I was more hyped for Renato Moicano than Arman Tsarukyan. I know Arman Tsarukyan would probably be more of a competitive bout, but during the build-up, he just never hyped up the fight. He just gives these such boring plain answers during the press conference. He's just a very boring character. He's a good fighter, but he's just a boring character. So when it came time for him to fight Islam Makhachev, I wasn't really that interested. But off the back of that, he was scheduled to fight, obviously, Islam. And then off the back of it, gets injured, and then Renato steps in. Renato's, he's talking the big one, I can't lose, I'm going to win this fight and whatnot. They square off. The one thing I will say, when they do the entrance for Renato Moicano, they missed a trick. If you ever watch Michael Chandler's entrance, and at the very start, before his music starts playing, so see you at the top, they should have the equivalent of that where Moicano says, Moicano needs money, and they should have that hype up and build a character. I know people sometimes don't like this WWE-esque side of the UFC, but it just makes for entertainment value, and that's what we want. We want the best entertainment that's in the sport. They square off, and off the back of that, Islam and Moicano square off, and they're trading on the feet in the first round, and it is quite competitive. There was a moment where Islam, I think he landed a quick 1-2 on Moicano, which stung Moicano, and then off the back of that, you've got Moicano who's landing a couple of flurry of punches and whatnot. And then there's a moment where Moicano, he lands a punch, apparently it was on the armpit, the commentators sent, and it just kind of, Islam slipped, and everyone was like, whoa, he's knocked him down, but in reality, Islam slipped. And I think off the back of that, he was like, okay, I've had enough. Straight away, shot for the takedown, went for the takedown, and instantly got Renato Moicano down, no problem. Gets him down, I believe he's in the guard of Renato Moicano, and he's like fighting through it, and then Renato kind of skips him, uses his power and his feet to push off Islam Makhachev, and he starts to get up, and as he gets up, he's on his knees and he presents his neck and his head in that kind of guillotine position as he's getting up, but Islam's like, I don't need a guillotine, give me the DAS. Cinches up the DAS choke, and even before it was cinched up, you hear DC on commentary say it's over, he's already got it, and the next thing you know, he's got it, and Renato Moicano taps out, and Islam Makhachev successfully defends his title in what was a dominant performance and a victory that we all kind of saw coming, and that should happen if you're Islam Makhachev. The one thing I will say, going into the fight, Islam, a lot of people said, look, uninterested, because obviously it wasn't the high level matchup that he was wanting, and the name on his resume that he was wanting. But the other thing I will say, he did look a bit dejected, and that was most likely because Umar Nurmagomedov lost in the fight before, and he was kind of a bit like down. This team, they like to see each other win, they bounce off each other's wins, there's the hype and the camaraderie as a family. When Umar probably lost, Islam was probably a bit dejected, and then off the back of that, he has to come out and he's a bit deflated. Like, he just looked unbothered during the fight. It was only after he got the slip and he thought, okay, let me actually put my foot on the gas. Put his foot on the gas, got the takedown, got the submission. Flawless victory by Islam Makhachev, and it's what you would want when you have the number 1 fighting the number 10 in the pound for pound rankings. Islam Makhachev is the champ. Renato Moicano is number 10 in the pound for pound rankings. This is what you should expect in the fight. This is what you want to see in the fight, and that is what happened. Going forward, what do we want to see for Islam Makhachev? It's quite an interesting predicament he's in, because off the back of this, Dana White said, no, Arman Tsarukyan's not getting the next title shot. That's probably to state that Arman was probably not ready, as in he had a knowing back injury, but was trying to fight through it, and then obviously pulled out the day of the weigh-in. And then now, I think Dana White, to punish him, has said, look, you've got to win another bout. We've got in March, we've got UFC 313, Justin Gaethje versus Dan Hooker. If Justin Gaethje wins, will he earn a title shot? I don't really know. If Dan Hooker wins, he'll earn a title shot because he'll be on a 4-fight win streak, but Islam's already made quick work of him. But this is a rejuvenated Dan Hooker, and this is Islam Makhachev further on in his career. So I don't know how that one would play out. As for the rest of the division, Gamrot's coming off a loss. Dariush needs to get back in the win column. Chandler's on a loss. Holloway, who's 5th in the rankings in the lightweight division, he hasn't got a win yet. He needs to build himself up in the lightweight division. He's really got no opponents, which kind of puts Islam Makhachev in a predicament. I think they should, even though Arman Tsarukyan pulled out, I think they should do the Arman Tsarukyan fight in the summer, June, July, August, around that time. And then at the end of the year, Islam fights again. He needs to get 3 title fights this year. But I think it's going to be one of those 3 guys while they help build another contender. So I think they should give Arman Tsarukyan the matchup. Even though he missed weight and Dana wants to punish him, just give him the matchup. At least we've got a fresh kind of matchup. He's the most deserving contender, because this division's kind of barren at the moment. I know there's Charles Oliveira. You could give it to Charles as well, but you need to give Islam those matchups. If you're not going to give Islam Arman Tsarukyan, you've got to give him Ilia Topuria. But I feel like I want to see Ilia Topuria clear out this featherweight era, including Movsar Evloev and Diego Lopez, so I'd still want him to do work there. And then when it comes to the welterweight argument, I know a lot of people think Islam Makhachev could go up to welterweight and have success. The problem is, I just think the size of those welterweights, they're too big for him and they're too strong for him. Guys like Bilal, Shafkat, Leon, Kamaru, JDM. JDM he could probably have success with, seeing how Gilbert Burns did in the grappling. But even then, JDM's a bigger guy, he'll have much more strength for the takedown defense. So I feel like he will actually struggle at welterweight. I think he needs like the perfect matchup, who's welterweight champion, and then he could win the belt. But I don't think he'd fight. He even said he wouldn't fight Bilal or Shafkat. So I think if I was Islam Makhachev, I would stick in the lightweight division. It's now on the UFC and Dana White to help build the next lightweight contenders and help build contenders for Islam Makhachev, who's clearing out this division. And he's I think he's on 15 wins in a row now. One more win, he ties Anderson Silva's record. I think still, like, a lot of people are like, this is the best lightweight of all time. I'd probably have him number 2 now, behind Khabib still. I just think, even though he's got more title defenses and title wins than Khabib, I just think he needs to get a more star power on his name. Those bigger names. He's got great wins. Like, if you look, he's got Dustin Poirier. Khabib has Dustin Poirier on his record. But look at the manner of victories in between them. Charles Oliveira, brilliant win. The Volk, second win, great, but they've got asterisks next to him. He's a 145er coming up. I just think he needs those 2 or 3 more star-studded names, and then you concretely say he's the best lightweight of all time. There's just too many asterisks. There's too many, like, is that really a good name? Like Khabib coming up had Michael Johnson and RDA. Islam, who did he have? Dan Hooker, really? That's it. There's no real big name. Okay, Arman Tsarukyan, but that was Arman Tsarukyan in his debut. So I just feel like he just needs those 1 or 2 more big names, and then he'll be solidified as the best lightweight of all time. As for Renato Moicano, unlucky for him, well done stepping up on short notice, and hopefully you made a crap ton of money, and you've helped your family out a crap ton. But off the back of this, I think he should get who should he fight? Maybe Beneil Dariush, get that matchup, because he was paired up with him, and maybe those two should fight in the summer as well. But yeah, unlucky for Renato Moicano. Stepped up, but it just showed the difference in levels. Renato Moicano was on a brilliant streak, but it's nothing compared to what Islam Makhachev's on. Islam Makhachev is now in that rarefied air, Anderson Silva, Kamaru Usman, Islam Makhachev, the longest win streaks in UFC history. He is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters ever, and on the verge of becoming one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. What did you think of Islam Makhachev's performance? Do you think he is undoubtedly one of the best pound for pound fighter in the world? I still think there's a bit of a debate between him, Ilya, and Alex Pereira. Do you think Islam Makhachev is one of the top 10 UFC fighters of all time, or is it too early in his resume? Does he need more defenses? Leave that in the comments down below. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more MMA and fight content coming soon. We hope you enjoyed the video and we'll catch you in the next one.